Hello and welcome ladies and gentlemen, Canine Gamer here once again with a new Let's Play, and this time let's play Lgeacy of Kain Soul Reaver, developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Eidos Interactive in 1999 for the PlayStation 1 and later for the PC and Sega Dreamcast. And this is the sequel to the Lgeacy of Kain series Blood Omen and Blood Omen 2, but the game has now a different protagonist and it tells a different story of what happened to Kain and Nosgoth. And with that out of the way, let's start playing. And oh yes, this game is an action-adventure game with horror elements. And it's been a long time since I played this. I do remember parts of the game of what to do, but it's similar in playstyle of the old Tomb Raider games, that combat and puzzle solving and exploration. So, with that out of the way, let's start playing.
Kain is deified. The clans tell tales of him. Few know the truth. He was mortal once, as were we all. However, his contempt for humanity drove him to create me and my brethren. I am Raziel, firstborn of his lieutenants. I stood with Kain and my brethren at the dawn of the Empire. I have served him a millennium. Over time, we became less human and more divine. Kain would enter the state of change and emerge with a new gift. Some years after the Master, our evolution would follow, until I had the honor of surpassing my Lord. For my transgression, I earned a new kind of reward. Agony. There was only one possible outcome. Eternal damnation. I, Raziel, was to suffer the fate of traitors and weaklings, to burn forever in the bowels of the lake of the dead. Cast him in. Tumbling, burning with white-hot fire, I plunged into the depths of the abyss. Unspeakable pain, relentless agony. Time ceased to exist. Only this torture and a deepening hatred of the hypocrisy that damned me to this hell. An eternity passed, and my torment receded, bringing me back from the precipice of madness. The descent had destroyed me, and yet I lived.
Raziel, you are worthy. I know you, Raziel. You are worthy.
What madness is this? What pitiful form is this that I have come to inhabit? Death would be a release next to this travesty.
You did not survive the abyss, Raziel. I have only spared you from total dissolution.
I would choose oblivion over this existence.
The choice is not yours.
I am destroyed.
You are reborn. The birth of one of Kain's abominations traps the essence of life. It is this soul that animates the corpse you lived in. And that, Raziel, is the demise of Nosgoth. There is no balance. The souls of the dead remain trapped. I cannot spin them in the wheel of fate. They cannot complete their destinies. Redeem yourself. Or if you prefer, avenge yourself. Settle your dispute with Kain. Destroy him and your brethren. Free their souls and let the wheel of fate churn again. Use your hatred to reave their souls. I can make it possible. Become my soul reaver, my angel of death.
Alright, and now the game begins, and now we go the mandatory tutorial which goes through the controls and the gameplay mechanics.
These gates twist space, laying a path across great spans.
And these are your, well, quick travel points, which you can use to travel quickly to certain areas once you've unlocked them.
You are weak. You must feed.
The old hunger has left me. I have no desire for blood.
You are changed. Your bloodthirst is replaced by a deeper need. You have become a devourer of souls. To sustain your strength, you must hunt the lost spirits of the underworld and consume the souls of your enemies. Your wings, though ruined, are not without purpose. Take hold of them as you leap, and they will carry you across this chasm.
What scabrous wretches are these?
Stua, the scavengers of the underworld. Their feral hunger has claimed countless souls, spirits who now shall never find their rest.
Now, some little light combat. Now, the combat of the game is relatively simple. It's a little bit of a button mashing. And it's definitely not the strong suit of the game, but then again, I think it never has been in the Soul Reaver. The main pull of the game has always been the story and the characters, and this game is no exception. And these guys can be, as you can see, a little annoying, and the camera does not follow automatically, or at least does it really lazily, so fighting enemies can be a bit clumsy at times. And also, one thing is I found weird with the camera, that you can circle it around left and right, but I can't figure out how or even if you can do it to up and down, which can definitely sometimes obscure where you want to go.
These portals are your conduit between the spectral and material realms. With their aid, you may gather matter and will yourself to become manifest in the physical world. This is taxing, however. Your strength must first be fully restored. You require no conduit to return to this plane. You may abandon your physical body at any time.
And now we enter the real world. And this is interesting, you do have spells in the game, but they are not mandatory to acquire, so if you find them, you can acquire that will give you a little more options on combat.
Sustain your strength to prolong your manifestation in the physical world. If you fail to feed or absorb too many wounds, this fragile matter will dissolve. You are young yet, Raziel. You still retain many of your vampiric weaknesses. Immersion in water, while not fatal, will dissolve your physical body, forcing your return to the spirit world. Be aware that in the spectral realm, water has neither heft nor lift. It stands as thin as air.
Oh, touched a little bit of water and lost a little bit of health.
What are these creatures?
Do you not recognize them? They are the children of your brother, Duma.
That's impossible. These foul, scuttling beasts could not be kin of our high blood.
Do you suppose that time stood still for you, Raziel? Much has changed since you passed from the world of men.
I knew my opponent's weaknesses, having suffered them myself. Physical wounds are fleeting. A vampire's immortal flesh begins to close as soon as it is cleaved. Vampires need only fear those wounds that impale or inflame. Water scorches like acid, and fledglings are devastated by sunlight's touch. I would have to modify my tactics to suit my foes.
So yes... Oh. You cannot kill enemies directly. You need to use first wound them and then find a suitable way.
Unfettered from the flesh, a creature's soul fades swiftly into the spectral realm. Draw it in quickly, Raziel, or you will be compelled to follow.
And this is definitely a bit... Oh. Well, let's throw you to the water as well. Oh. God damn it. So yeah. But you can use also makeshift weapons to kill enemies. Oh, come on, soul. Because some areas do have...
Your physical prowess surpasses what you knew in life. Even massive obstacles can be moved effortlessly.
This is I meant that it's sometimes difficult because the camera doesn't show. So you have to do a little, or at least I haven't figured out yet. I might have to look, because you would think there would be a way to manipulate the camera to see if some upper areas. And yes, you can grab some makeshift weapons. to help you in combat if the area does not have.
My God! The sanctuary of the clans reduced to ruin. Beyond these walls lay the pillars of Nosgoth, the seat of Kain's empire. How humble it now appeared, collapsing into the dust of its former magnificence. And yet, I had only just emerged. In the instant between my execution and resurrection, centuries had apparently passed.
This world is wrecked with cataclysms. The earth strains to shrug off the pestilence of Kain's parasitic empire. The fate of this world was preordained in an instant by a solitary man. Unwilling to martyr himself to restore Nosgoth's balance, Kain condemned the world to the decay you see. In that moment, the unraveling began. Now it is nearly played out. Nosgoth teeters on the brink of collapse. Its fragile balance cannot hold.
And the game definitely throws hints on what happened in the previous games, in Blood Omen 1 and sometimes in 2. Although Blood Omen 2... Although Soul Reaver was released before Blood Omen 2, but I decided when I did the Let's Play to do it because it's technically a prequel. And torches... well, they go out after a single use, and I usually prefer lancers because these you can reuse in combat. And the game does allow you to sneak, but I find it very rarely a possibility because sometimes enemies can be in the blind spot and they can quickly realize that you're there. So I don't find it all that useful. Here's a checkpoint area. Or a fast travel point. And you are technically immortal in the game, meaning that you cannot die in the game completely. If you die in the real world, you are transferred to the material realm, and if you suffer injuries in there, you will simply be transported to the starting location of the game. And then you can just quickly try to fast travel to the point where you... oh. Whoa.
This, at least, had remained constant. The endlessly swirling vortex of the abyss, my tomb, and the womb of my rebirth. Though much of Nosgoth's landscape had changed, these cliffs gave me my bearings. My clan territory was to the west. I was anxious to see how my descendants had fared during the centuries of my absence.
Before we'll head there, I'm gonna do a little exploration to see if there's anything else I can actually... Yes, I came from that direction. Just want to check because some areas are unlocked to you until you and well, that answered that question. That as you progress, certain areas will become available to you. time being, let's go to the beating path. The hitboxes have a little bit of interesting. Wonder if I can use that on something. Probably later on for puzzle solving. Not yet. Keep in mind.
Utter desolation. My once proud kin wiped from this world like excrement from a boot. I knew the hand that wrought this deed.
Fast travel. I wanna also look around if there's any hidden secrets. Here. And this game does have great music. Failing is definitely the quickest way to deal with these. So far it's been a relatively simple exploration, but the further we go we need to start solving some platform puzzles and other kinds of... And we need to sometimes use the material world to travel in certain locations. Oh. Continue a little further before I'll cut the video. Enter in one of our brothers' kingdoms or realms, or whatever they are called, territories. And now we are entering.
No! Please!
I didn't recognize these flayed racks of flesh. Their scent was vampiric. They gnawed upon their victim's carcass like dogs.
And these are other brothers' offsprings. Just like... throw you into the fire just for the fun of it. Ah, and there's a human. Humans actually don't attack you unless you provoke them, and these guys are, well, vampire hunters. And you can actually later on in the game use them to retrieve souls or replenish your health. But if you kill them, then they will turn hostile. But if you just take slightly...
This charnel house bore the unmistakable marks of Melchiah's clan. To what depths had our dynasty plummeted if these ghouls were the descendants of my high-born brother? Were they so debased as to recruit fledglings from the desiccated corpses here interred?
This was actually, I remember this part, and this was definitely the first part where I was wondering where the camera had to be moved. Of course there's a hint, because there's the block, but where exactly? Up. Need to move there.
My brother Melchiah was made last, and therefore received the poorest portion of Kain's gift. Although immortal, his soul could not sustain the flesh, which retained much of its previous human frailty. This weakness, it seemed, was passed on to his offspring. Their fragile skins barely contained the underlying decay.
Let's take out that guy, and then I'm gonna cut the video. Oh, ah. So yes, Melchiah is now our first so-called brother that we are gonna target in our first boss, but the bosses are not like a game of skill. They are like puzzle bosses that they have certain ways you can defeat them and you just have to figure it out. But I do actually remember how to defeat the first boss, and he's relatively easy. But I guess I'm gonna cut the video here now. So, I'm K9 Gamer, and this has been Let's Play Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. And if you enjoy these kinds of Let's Plays, give it a thumbs up, feedback, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notification and all that jazz, and join me again with a new video. But until then, as always, I'll see you when I see you. Later.